Greetings everybody. In this video, I'm gonna share 10 professional polishing tips that I learned over many years of polishing and many hours behind a polisher, polishing many different vehicles from different clients. So let's get right into it. So the first and most important tip is to use a paint depth reader. So a paint depth reader is basically a device like this. There's various ones that you can use, and it will basically allow you to understand the current condition of the paint. So you apply this device against the paint and it will read how much of the total paint there is, so you can have an idea, a general idea of how much clear coat is left. It will also allow you to know if some of the areas in the vehicle were repainted. The only issue is the readers, for the most part, they only tell parts that are metal. So aluminum or metal parts. It doesn't read plastic parts like bumpers. So you're gonna kind of have to work around that, but basically you're gonna take an overall reading all throughout the vehicle so it can give you an idea before you start polishing what is the current condition of the paint. That way you don't burn through paint, or you understand how much paint you have to know whether you can do a two-step paint correction or you can only do a paint enhancement because the paint is too thin. It would also help you avoid making many mistakes. So make sure you take a reading of the paint before you start. So the second tip is you're gonna wanna do a test spot. A test spot is basically gonna give you an idea of whether the paint is soft or hard, so you can know how to continue polishing the rest of the car. Basically, you're gonna choose a polishing pad and a polishing fluid, whether a compound or a finishing polishing fluid. And basically, you're gonna do one test spot on an area of the vehicle so you can see how much correction it did with that combination. That way you can determine whether you're gonna need to use something more aggressive, whether the pad or the compound or polishing fluid, or you're gonna need to switch up to a different pad, something that cuts a little less. So doing a test spot is gonna be like your preset, so you can know how to continue polishing throughout the rest of the vehicle. So the third tip that doesn't get talked about often is that heat is the enemy when it comes to cutting or correcting. That means that you're gonna want the machine to run cooler, and you're not gonna wanna overuse the pad or do too much of a section at a time. So you wanna run the machine at a speed of about 3 or 4, and instead of like 5 or 6. If you're running at about 5 or 6, that's gonna make the machine create a lot of heat. It's gonna get hot, and that heat is gonna transfer and flow to the pad, which is gonna make it mushy instead of firm. You want the pad to be firm, not mushy. Think about it, it's like if you were trying to cut a marshmallow with a knife, right? It wouldn't be easy because it's so mushy and grabby and marshmallowy, compared to if you were cutting something that's solid, like a fruit, like an apple with a knife. It will be easier to cut because it's firm. Basically, that analogy will help you understand that you want to keep the pad firm and cool. Also, if you keep using the pad a lot and it creates a lot of heat, the glue that binds the top part to the backing plate, it's gonna start breaking down. So you'll see it in some cases, in some extreme cases, that people run the machine at 6 for a very long time. They're not paying attention, and then the adhesive and the glue of the backing pad from the polishing pad is detaching, and the pad will fly out, and then people will pretty much scratch the paint with the machine. So that's why you want to avoid running at a very high speed all the time and overusing the pad. So the fourth tip is you want to avoid raised edges. So any body panel on the vehicle where there's a raised edge, you don't want to polish on that raised edge a lot. So you want to be very careful. So basically you want to do the lower portion and then the top portion, but basically not putting the polisher on that raised edge. Number one, because it's very sensitive and it's very likely that you can burn the clear coat easy on raised edges. Also, just by the way that cars are painted, it's kind of like where the least amount of clear coat is applied or is able to stay on the vehicle. So raised edges, you want to be very careful and don't directly put the polisher on the raised edge. So make sure you polish the bottom part of that body panel and then the upper part of that body panel, and that's basically how you're gonna deal with that section. So the fifth tip is you wanna make sure that you cover or you put tape over any rubber or plastic trim. It won't show up right away, but a week down the road or 2 weeks, you'll see that the trim, the black trim or rubber trim, if you polish there and you didn't cover it up, it's gonna show this white, like chalky residue that's very difficult to remove. You can remove it, but it's very tedious work that you wanna avoid by simply taping off everywhere that there's plastic and rubber trim around the vehicle. Or if you don't wanna do that, you could use a polishing fluid that doesn't stain. There's a couple out there, like this one or DIY Details Gold Standard Polish, that don't necessarily stain it. I will still try to be as careful and not get it in there, but it's better than other ones that do stain the trim. So the sixth tip is if you are going to do this professionally or you're gonna work on multiple cars, you do wanna think about investing on different sizes of polishers. So basically, you wanna get smaller polishers to be able to polish smaller areas where your normal polisher won't fit. So a professional can kind of get around 90% of the vehicle with this, but there are some areas where you just can't reach and you want to step down to a smaller polisher, like a 3-inch or a 1-inch as well. Flex PXE makes a really awesome polisher that comes with a 3-inch and a 1-inch polishing and disc, so you can switch between the two. And basically, that's gonna be able to help you get in those tight nooks and crannies around the vehicle where your normal polisher wouldn't reach. So the seventh tip is you wanna constantly clean your pads. So after every pass, you wanna make sure that your pad is clean. The cleaner the pad is, the better it will cut, the better it will work, the better it will be able to do its job. So basically, after every pad, you wanna take a brush and basically brush off that dead clear coat or that clear coat that got and that oxidation, and just you want to make sure you clean the pad. And after a couple passes, you want to switch pads. So you don't want to overuse one pad. Could you get away with just using one pad? Technically, yes, but it's more difficult. And the reason why you want to constantly be switching pads is because, like I told you, you don't want the pad to overheat. Once it starts getting very hot, it's turning like a marshmallow, so it's not cutting as well as it's supposed to, and you run the risk of damaging the backing and the adhesive, the glue that's here. So to get a better performance and for the longevity of your pads, which are not cheap, you wanna constantly be cleaning your pads. So speaking about cleaning pads, there's a couple different ways that you can do it. If we're talking about microfiber or wool, I would recommend using a tornador and compressed air, and it really helps clean the pads very quickly, very effectively. So after every pass, just blow it out, you're good to go. Now, if we're talking about foam, for foam, I would want to stick to using a brush. So every pass, and then after every couple passes, you would want to clean both the foam and the microfiber. You want to invest in a pad cleaner. So this is a dedicated pad cleaner. I think it's called the Pad Cleaner 4000. And basically the way this works, we'll take here an example. We'll take this one. Hopefully you can see it's all dirty and mushy. So you put your pad here, and it has a special polishing cleaning fluid at the bottom. And basically you do that to flow the clean solution onto the pad, and you run it at a very low speed. So 1. And you'll see all the gunk coming off in the pad cleaner, and then you want to lift it off very ever so slightly and run it at speed 6 to basically dry it out. So it does tend to make a mess, something you got to be aware and careful, but that's just the nature of the beast. But as you can see, the pad is perfectly clean, and you can set it aside, let this one dry, and that's why you want to have multiple pads, so you can have a clean and dry pad ready to go while this one dries. And after this one, again, you clean this one, and then you rotate. So you want to have about 3 or 4 pads minimum per car. So the 8th tip is to realize what you're actually doing when you're polishing. You're essentially removing clear coat. So technically, we're not removing scratches, we're just removing a top layer of the clear coat, that top layer that has oxidation and those swirl marks and micro scratches, and removing that to reveal a fresh new layer of paint. So if the scratch is very indented, it's very deep, basically we're removing paint around that, so we're removing the clear coat around that scratch, and by removing the clear coat and kind of leveling it, it's gonna give it the illusion that the scratch is removed, but technically we didn't remove the scratch because the scratch is an indentation on the paint, on the clear coat, and we're just removing the paint around it to give it that illusion that it's gone. So this is why you wanna make sure that you take care of your vehicle properly. Number one, because modern clear coats are very thin from the factory. So you don't wanna be polishing your car too many times, like every 6 months or a year. You wanna polish your vehicle the least amount of times possible to preserve more of the clear coat, to preserve more of the paint, so it can last you a long time and it doesn't get clear coat failure or starts chipping. That means you're gonna wanna wash your vehicle properly, and you're not gonna wanna use aggressive cutting methods if you can avoid them. So if you are gonna do it for a client, make sure that you're informing them that what you are doing is technically removing clear coat to bring a fresh new layer that makes it look shiny, that removes some of those top minimal scratches to make the paint look better, but it is coming at the cost of removing clear coat. Tip number 9 is that basically every situation is gonna be different. So just because a certain pad and polishing fluid combination worked on one vehicle, it doesn't mean it's gonna work the same on another vehicle. And that's because there's so many variables at play. For example, how hard or how soft the clear coat is. Here, hard or soft, it just means how fragile or how durable it is. So a clear coat that is soft, it means it gets scratched easily, but at the same time, it gets corrected easily. It means you don't need to do aggressive polishing, you could do simple polishing and it will remove most of those scratches. In contrast, a harder paint, as the name suggests, it's harder, so it's more difficult to scratch it, but at the same time, when it comes time to polishing it, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult. You're gonna need a more aggressive cutting pad with a compound. A simple light polish might not do the trick. So that's kind of the difference between those two. So the point is, just because a certain situation worked in one vehicle, it doesn't always mean it's gonna work the same in another vehicle. So everything is case by case, and that's why you need to do your test spot. And that's why you also need to use your paint gauge to make sure how much clear coat you're working with so you don't make any mistakes. So just realize that every vehicle is different, even from the same company of cars, even the same vehicle, it could be different, just depending on many different variables. So the 10th and last tip is to not chase perfection. There's no perfection. Such a thing does not exist. A lot of detailers online will like to tell you, like, I perfected the paint, or there's not a single scratch. There's no such thing. And you shouldn't chase it. No matter how perfect someone claims a car is, if you really take a proper light and you inspect from all different angles, every single area, there's gonna be some scratches, there's gonna be some swirl marks. That's just the nature of the beast. So don't even chase perfection. Be clear when it comes to communicating with your client, or if it's your personal vehicle, how much of it are you trying to achieve? Basically, at what point you should be content. Because even if you were to chase perfection, let's say you perfected the paint, but that came at the cost of removing a lot of clear coat, no matter what, somewhere down the line, your car will be scratched again. Even if it's not by you, even if you perfectly wash it, someone will ding it, or someone will key it, or someone will scratch it, or some cat will get on top of it, or a dog, your dog. No matter what, life is gonna happen. So if you keep chasing perfection, you're gonna have to continue polishing, which is natural, it's gonna happen, and you're gonna be removing more and more clear coat, and then you're gonna have no more clear coat left. It's gonna have clear coat failure, you're gonna have to repaint it. Of course, this all depends if you're doing this for a client or you're doing it for your own vehicle. There's many variables to consider, but what I'm trying to say is if you are gonna do it for a client and they are seeking a two-step paint correction and they're gonna pay you for it, a lot of detailers, the client would just want a polish and out of their own like ego or whatever, detailer will be like, oh no, I'm gonna do two-step paint correction, I'm gonna wet sand and remove every scratch. You're wasting time, you're wasting effort, and you're cutting into your profit. So just make sure that you communicate clearly and you give real expectation. That's why you should do your test spot. You can show the test spot to the client. Hey, look, this is how much of the scratches came off with this just one step, and this is how much with two steps. Something like that, depending on the situation, or if you're doing this for your own vehicle. Again, it all depends on what you're trying to achieve and whether you're doing it for yourself or for a client, or there's just many variables to consider. So this is just a general guideline. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you would like for me to go into more depth into any of the 10 polishing tips, let me know in the comment section down below. I'm gonna link all the products and tools that I recommend and I use in my professional business. And if you have any questions about any of them, feel free to drop in the comment section as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you on the next one.